Hey, D'Angelo. Sorry, that I said for me to say D'Angelo for some reason. I rolled a 17, but it was a 20.
Hey man, what?
I
What's
so
up?
I've decided that I'm going to let the dice decide what I roll and what I do in my life. So this morning I woke up, rolled a nat 3, so I wasn't allowed to take a shower or brush my teeth. But later that day I was able to
Okay.
roll a 20, so I was allowed to finally go outside, get some fresh air, and eat some food. And now I'm gonna record this video. Actually, you know what? I should probably roll the dice just so that I can see if I can record. Okay, bye.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Cosmic Panel. Back again with another weekly poll. Hope everyone has been enjoying their new books recently. Before we get into the video, I'm going to remind you guys that we are sponsored by Comic Universe. Located at 446 McDade Boulevard in Folsom, PA, these guys have a lovely comic book shop ready for you guys to browse. They got trade paperbacks, hardcovers, a great back issue selection. They got keys all over the walls, lots of really cool stuff on the walls. They got graded books. They got Pokemon cards, dollar bins, action figures, and much, much more. Mike and Mike were nice enough to pass us along the sponsorship. So thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Make sure to give them a visit, guys, and let them know that the Cosmic Panel sent you.
Definitely. Remember to like, subscribe, support your local comic shop, and comment down below what books you're pulling this week. Elias, first up, what is your first pull?
My first pull for this week is going to be Giant Size Silver Surfer number 1. This is a giant size issue celebrating 50 years of Silver Surfer. So this is going to be sort of tribute to his history, tribute to him as a character. Lots of cool stuff. I'm a big Silver Surfer fan, and he hasn't gotten some real love in a while. So this is a fun little one shot to pick up. And he's fighting Terrax. Terrax is, I think, well, definitely like top 2 favorite heralds of Galactus. I've always enjoyed him and his design a lot. Looks like a new uniform for him. But yeah, Terrax is really cool. Um, he showed up in Superior Spider-Man, and he has just a lot of weird, obscure appearances that I really enjoy. So this is going to have a reprint of Silver Surfer 80 and also a new story. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this out.
Yeah, Matt Groom is going to be taking the reins on this comic, and honestly, he's pretty well known for doing pretty great anniversary issues. Honestly, he did Supermassive, which was the Massiverse event stuff. He always does the crossovers for that, and then he also does always the anniversary specials for Power Rangers. So I know he's got some cool stuff cooking up.
That's cool that they got him for this. I don't recognize this artist, but I do recognize some of the books that they were on. So yeah, this should be cool.
Sick.
All right, Lucas, what's your first pick this week?
My first pick is Get Fury number 3. Read the first 2 issues. If you guys didn't know, Garth Ennis for me is either very hit or miss. But when it comes to this is Garth Ennis in his pocket. Um, Stories with Frank Castle doing CIA ops missions is great. Um, but basically, the gist of the story is that Nick Fury got kidnapped during the Vietnam War, and the CIA, the military, wants to kill him because he has too many secrets. So they send the next best person to kill him, which is obviously Frank Castle. Little do they realize that Frank actually has a mission of his own to save Fury because he knows about the corruption within the military rank, and they're trying to kill Fury not to protect American secrets, but to actually protect their own side hustle that they've been selling weapons and such. So it's really sick. It's a really great story, great political meaning, especially in regard to the Vietnam War. And honestly, some of the best writing for Punisher. I mean, Punisher Max series is well regarded as one of the best runs uh, that Punisher has ever gotten. And Garth Ennis wrote all that, so not surprised that this is so good. Honestly, just surprised that they did this they at all, to be honest, more than anything else.
Yeah, when this was initially announced, I was really surprised to see the Max imprint on the cover, and more surprised just because they didn't make a bigger deal out of it.
Yeah,
I would have run a whole multiple month campaign being like Max format is back, Max imprint is back. They didn't do that, but yeah, I'm glad to hear that this is strong.
yeah.
This looked interesting for sure.
So far, this is the only Max book. I'm wondering if they're going to wait on the popularity of this before deciding to move forward. But yeah, it's been great. Artist Jason Burrows has been phenomenal, showing the gritty realism of the Vietnam War, whether it be someone's head getting cut open or someone stepping on a mine. And then Garth Ennis is just, like I said, in his pocket. This is his zone.
Yeah, with the new rising of the Red Band editions, I'd be curious to see if they more so go in the Red Band direction, which looks like is going to be what they're doing, or they're going to continue doing Max stuff. So it's pretty interesting time in comics for old formats to come back.
Yeah, definitely. What's next up for you, Elias?
Next up for me is going to be Hulk Blood Hunt #1. This is going to be a Hulk one shot written by Philip Kennedy Johnson still, and one of the fill-in artists that we've had before, Danny Earls. So this does luckily tie directly into the main Incredible Hulk book. He went to Strange Academy to try and free Charlie and was unsuccessful. So now he is traveling to where supposedly he can save Charlie. So he's going to Old Tucson and seems on his way. He's going to run into some vampires. Hopefully, this will advance the plot for the main book somewhat and still have Hulk do some fun vampire fighting. I love Joshua Cassara. He's one of my favorite new Marvel artists. He's a very skilled modern artist. I would love to see him do more ongoings. He's sort of just been a fill-in artist and a cover artist recently, but I think he would be good for Hulk, honestly, based on this cover.
Honestly,
But
yeah.
yeah, this is going to be a fun little blood hunt romp with Hulk.
Yeah, it should be exciting, especially. Yeah, I haven't caught up on the Hulk series in a minute, but honestly, last where I left off was Charlie's soul getting trapped in that statue, which was absolutely horrifying, and really just fucked. So I Hulk still trying to solve that problem is sad to say the least, but I'm excited to see where this series is going to go because honestly, Hulk now having a mission is honestly the best thing that could happen to him after the first couple issues kind of being like just monsters encountering him.
Yeah, adds another dimension to it. Adds the depth of his own humanity back into the book. Banner versus Hulk.
Yeah.
Um, you know, do they really care about humans? Sometimes they do. So yeah, the only thing, and I guess I'm just going to keep harping on this forever, is just Marvel's fill-in artist situation is very poor right now. But at least this is I guess the second artist now, the second collaborator returning to this book. So hopefully at least PKJ works well with him, and they can get the job done.
Yeah.
All right, Lucas, what's next up for you?
Next up for me is Ghost Rider Final Vengeance. This book has honestly been so fucking good. I've been honestly surprised by just how consistently good this book is and exploring some of the characterization of a character that I hadn't seen in a minute. I know that Elias hasn't read, but I'm going to spoil it anyway. So it turns out that the Spirit of Vengeance went to the Hood, which is wild. That that Parker was able to get the Spirit of Vengeance with the help of Mephisto, but he stole it from Johnny too. And with that, he's been kind of building his own empire now, working with vampires, taking out the criminal underworld, and he's kind of balancing between using the Hood and keeping the Spirit of Vengeance in check, basically. It's really interesting. It's really sick to see Johnny kind of on the back foot, not really like he's kind of left with a hole in his soul due to the Spirit of Vengeance leaving, but it still allows him to use Hellfire to some degree. But it's really awesome because this is actually a very interesting dynamic between these two characters that don't really interact that much. And the Hood hasn't been used in so long, so honestly, any usage of him is always super welcomed on my end.
Word. I'm glad this is strong. They really solicited it as a mini, but I think it's going to keep running for a bit. So, I'm glad Benjamin Percy is going to at least be able to spin this off into something else after, and that they really just gave him the Ghost Rider reins.
Yeah, the great thing that Benjamin Percy has been doing, at least in this miniseries, is humanizing Parker Robbins, who is a guy that's mainly known as the bad guy. But
Mm-hmm.
in this, they try to spin it in a way where it's interesting because he has a child and an ex-wife, and
Mm.
he's quote unquote building this criminal empire to guarantee a life for them. And so it gives you that sense of, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Are you is what you're doing okay? No, but like we it humanizes him a little bit, and just that little bit of humanity immediately makes him so much more of a compelling character. Especially when he fucking just wants to slaughter criminals just to feed the Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, very interesting choice to bring Hood into it. I don't know if it was maybe a Benjamin Percy favorite character, or a character he wanted to work with, or what, but it's an interesting choice for sure.
I gotta believe so, just because it seems like he deep dived into the Hood very deeply. Like there's some like deep cuts in the series that I was like genuinely surprised by. I was like, whoa, where it's just like references to past
Word.
stories with him. Anyway, what's next up for you, Elias?
Next up for me is going to be the Ultimates #2. First issue was definitely a good trajectory, good pace, and good idea of what we're going to be getting in this series. Um, recruiting new characters, assembling this team, and slowly taking on the Maker's cronies, basically. But yeah, first issue accomplished a lot, gave us an idea of the status quo here for this book, and definitely excited to get into this next issue. I'm hoping that we see Human Torch. I'm hoping that we see Giant Man and Wasp in full action, and just start to understand who can handle their powers, who can't, and what they had done to them by the Maker to stop them from getting their powers. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this second issue for sure.
Yeah, no, this book, the first issue for me personally was a perfect issue because it reintroduced you into the main politics of the Ultimate Universe, brought in all these characters, made us care about them, introduced new ones, brought in a main conflict, a main villain, and really showed like a conflict per character, which was phenomenal for me. Um, like Captain America dealing with the fact that America doesn't exist. I genuinely hadn't realized that America didn't exist in this timeline until literally the first issue of the Ultimates, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that was stated that America no longer exists." So Captain America dealing representing a country that no longer is anything is wild. But on top of that, I love Doctor Doom and Iron Lad discussing Doctor Doom being like, you have to think in 4D, not 2D or 3D, 4D if we're going to use this time travel stuff.
Yeah.
And Doom just being very blunt and being like, okay, we got to try it again. It failed once, let's try it again. Repeat the experiment. And like Tony's just like, no. These are people. We have to. But I also like that time travel wasn't the end all be all of the solution. It was so great. Being like, yeah, no, this isn't going to instantly fix any of our problems. Like, we have to think stuff out and recruit people and talk to them. But
Right.
then I also love Hank Pym getting lobotomized by the Maker. Such an interesting idea to neutralize them. Having them both be ant pest control. Thor and Sif are like dealing with their own thing, where Thor's still injured and Sif is dealing with the fact that she kept Thor in prison for hundreds of years, if not more. We don't really have a timeline on when Maker met them, quote unquote, and put Thor in prison. So Um, but yeah, it's crazy.
I want to know what's going on with Hank.
Yeah,
Get more explanation if he, because the vibe to me was that if he still seems to be functioning at a pretty, high or normal level.
yeah.
But I'm wondering if maybe the maker just removed like the concept for Ultron or the idea for Ultron in his head. I think that could be an interesting twist, something like that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how this series will unfold.
And 100% agree with you about seeing the Human Torch, the Free Comic Book Day, showing Jim Hammond still alive and kicking. I'm hoping that they bring him in soon.
Yeah. All right, Lucas, what's next up for you?
Next up for me is Dawn Runner. Ram V still kicking. Man does not stop. Man does not fucking care. Uh, a mix, almost like a love letter to Evangelion and Pacific Rim of all things. Um, this the series is so good. It's a mecha battle thing, but it deals with the idea that the monsters aren't even a threat anymore. It's the corporations building the robots, really, because they're trying to consistently build better robots and make it into a spectacle. It's like a gladiator battle. You put sponsorships on the robot. So I like that it's not even about the monsters necessarily, because the monsters are kind of whatever. Um, like they're great design, but like they're very weak in comparison to the robots. But the idea is that the company recently um, put a human brain as basically the computer for one of the robots, and so every time Anita is going into Dawn Runner, which is the robot with the human brain, she's bonding with the guy who died died during the original event of the monsters coming down, and had his brain put into the robot. And he doesn't even realize that he's like a part of the robot. He's just like as confused as her. So it's a very interesting psychological, almost psychological mystery slash horror. Um, but it's so well drawn. I mean, even Kegel is insane.
I don't know how I didn't realize Rom V was on this. I saw this many times on the shelf and just haven't even heard anyone talk about it really. So that's really cool. I'm glad that this is good. I'll have to check this out at some point.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I think that it's ending at issue 5. Yeah. So, um, but I like that the monsters aren't.
Okay, Type 5.
Yeah, I like that the monsters though aren't the main threat. That to me is like a good twist on the like average mecha story.
Right, right.
What's next up for you, Elias?
Next up for me is going to be the brand new X-Men #1. That's right, the series that just ended a few weeks ago or something. It's back. Um, this is from the new line of X-Men books. I can't lie. I think having 3 X-Men titles with different adjectives is going to be strange. It's definitely not where I saw this the mutant comics going after such a huge era like Krakoa. But yeah, this is the adjectiveless X-Men book. This is going to be a really strong creative team, which is going to be Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman. I've come around to Stegman stuff. I definitely didn't love him at first, but I don't know. Just something about him that I really enjoyed. I think Vanish really did it for me. Vanish kind of showed me the breadth of his skill set and really just got me into him. So yeah, this is something I'm excited about, not just because of the creative team, but because of the team itself. We got a pretty weird crew.
Yeah.
We got Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, supposedly, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Temper, Magic, and Juggernaut. So really, really interesting grouping here. I don't really know what to make of it. Obviously, we have Cyclops and the new version of Beasts, right? The old clone. So this is going to be interesting, subplot with him, I'm sure. It also looks like we have Scurvy on the cover from the Free Comic Book Day book. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be him or maybe Caliban or something strange like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this inclusion of Juggernaut. I really enjoyed him in the Krakoa era. I think he'll be a lot of fun. And the newer member, the newer mutant, is Temper, who basically has heat and cold based powers. So she'll be interesting. She's a bit of a newer creation. And yeah, I'm excited to get into this to see what they're going to tackle. They're going to have to come up with, some new threats to make 3X books, 3X teams worthwhile for sure. I think McKay is good at giving us individual time in a team book, focusing and honing in on a character at a time. I'm just a little concerned about his uniting writing,
Yeah.
which is kind of the vibe that I got from his Avengers run so far. So, yeah, I'm hoping this is strong. Team looks really cool, and I'm excited to jump into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for this and Uncanny and Exceptional. I think a lot having so many new X books is so. I mean, for me, this is like refreshing after Krakoa because it's like almost like we're going back to basics almost. Um, and after obviously the new X-Men show, I'm sure that this is a great launching on point for a lot of people. Um, this will get a lot of people interested. But yeah, I'm excited for the 3 X-Men books and then the NYX and all those different stuff. I'm hoping that this starts off the series strong. Um, and only thing I will say, I love Ryan Stegman's art. I kind of wish he drew Cyclops looking a little bit older. He looks a little bit too young, in my opinion.
They have to explain his whole look, honestly. He got like a haircut, and his suit's really, different for
I like
him.
the suit, to be honest, personally.
Well, I just want an explanation,
Oh yeah,
of
no,
like of what this vibe is, because Cyclops should be very
tactical.
relieved, but also pretty serious at this point in his life. Like he should be very, reserved. I feel like after the Krakoan era. So
Also, how the fuck are they bringing back Quentin? I never finished X-Men Wolverine, so how the fuck did he come
he's
back?
he's dead. He's dead as fuck. So they're gonna have to bring him back. No, literally, they have to bring him back
That's wild.
to do this, and maybe they'll do that in the first issue. Maybe they won't. I don't know.
Maybe he'll be
But
the
yeah,
one they
they do have to bring
save.
him all the way back.
Either way, let's see. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. What is next up for you?
Next up for me is The Hunger in the Dusk, Book 2, Issue 1. Yeah, now that IDW isn't completely gone and dead, they're bringing back The Hunger in the Dusk. G. Willow Wilson is back with her amazing fantasy series. And now, after Cal and Tara fell out and had their whole argument, and Tara went on her own, and Cal went with his group, um, we don't really seem to know what's going to happen to the Human Orc Alliance or what's going to happen with the Vangels, which are the monsters that have been making the humans and orcs have to work together in the first place. Um, the group, the Last Men Standing, that's actually their name, which is absolutely hilarious to me. But the Last Men Standing are now without a healer, so if any of them die or get injured, they're kind of just fucked. Because that was the role of Tara, was to be a magical healer. Basically, she was like the equivalent of like a cleric in a D&D campaign. So without that, you don't get any heals, and everyone loses their arms, and people fucking die. So let's see what happens.
Word. I didn't know that IDW was sticking around. Do you know the news with that, or?
Nothing. I really thought this was gonna. I knew that it was gonna. The series, The Hunger and Dusk, was gonna pick up again. I didn't even realize it was gonna pick up until last week.
Mm.
But I thought she was gonna change it over to maybe Image or something like that. But I guess not. I guess IDW is sticking around for
Okay.
currently. So I was genuinely surprised also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just happy that this book specifically is getting a continuation.
Yeah, big time. I know you were a big fan of this.
Yeah, no,
Looks very cool.
so good. What's your top pick, Elias?
All right, my top pick for this week is going to be Green Lantern number 13.
Lucky number 13.
This book is just lucky number 13. This book has just been a blast. Just so much fun. Great action. Great mystery. Great new uses of the Green Lantern power and adjacent power sets. And now we are entering our Absolute Power tie-in era. Lucas made this point, but it transitioned so smoothly into this tie-in chapter. Didn't feel unnatural. I thought it was very well done. And yeah, now Hal is on Earth with Carol actually currently, and the Suicide Squad and Amanda's forces have been sent after her. So uh, yeah, I'm excited to see what this arc is going to hold for him. It's been very strong so far. This cover is really sick. I'd be surprised if we saw Alan Scott, but that would be really cool. And we got a Red Lantern Sinestro on here as well. And we
Yeah.
got Carol, who is basically, to our knowledge, the last surviving Star Sapphire member. So pretty cool. Excited to
Yeah.
grab into this issue.
I wanted to bring up the fact that she's the last surviving Star Sapphire. That's pretty wild. But I think that also means that Carol's gonna eventually have to commit to rebuilding the Star Sapphire core, which would be
Yeah,
an insane way to get her and Hal to be together, but both be busy. You know what I mean? But like have her in space.
and have a real serious role in the plot in the story. So yeah, I mean, obviously, it's to our knowledge. If that was the only ring that survived, Tharos's destruction of the core, and it chose Carol, or if there are other Star Sapphire rings flying around. But yeah, it's a cool way to go. Definitely not something I expected.
Yeah, and I love the
Yeah,
sightless too. That was a really cool thing. Like the blinded Green Lanterns that were facing off against Hal.
yeah,
But yeah, I haven't read Absolute Power yet, but I'm going to. But
yeah,
I'm definitely very excited for this event.
yeah. Last issue, or actually, it was 2 issues ago now. Tharos had a meeting with Waller, basically saying Hal has escaped. We think he's on Earth. Um, you know, and showing that uh, he's not afraid of her. He was basically like, in the grand scheme of things, you're just a little speck. So it was kind of cool to see that moment of intimidation on Waller herself, but showing that it's uh, there's bigger players in the game, and if she's really prepared to take it past Earth, she's going to have some real foes. But we basically found out that Lord Tharos has replaced the cabinet um, of his team with just shapeshifters of his own race,
Yeah,
deceiving basically everyone and leading Hal and Co into a trap. And at this point, Hal is the only one who made it out of that confrontation with Tharos. But we still do have Kyle and a couple others that are still back on the main planet. So it'll be cool. I hope they show us more of what's going on with them. Kyle is in a lot of distress, uh, a lot of distress right now, and he's also exhibiting unusual uses of the Green Lantern power. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to get more info on that as well.
He's definitely not feeling the Aster.
Comment below if you get that reference. All right, Lucas, what is your top pick for this week?
Oh
I
god, I
know I
gotta
did not
emotionally
read
prepare for
this.
this. Oh fuck. So Ice Cream Man number 39. Well, this one is Ice Cream Man number 40. This is a two-parter.
Yeah,
How do I put this? Number 39 had me fucking bawling my eyes out. Um, it is the most horrific issue of this fucking series, and it's not even because of the gore. It shows. God, I'm like tearing up right now thinking about it. It is
and
such a
this is why I did not read
this
that
is
book. I
such a
saw the cover and I was like, I am good.
this
Thank you
is
though.
such a fucking strong issue. But it shows the brutality of like a single moment within a car crash, and the entire story takes place over I think 15 seconds, not even. Um, and it shows each family member's death, and them experiencing their life flashing before their eyes and the potential futures and all this. God, it's heartbreaking in a lot of ways. It's not the horror that you would expect in like a normal horror story. It's just the horror of, this is a car crash. This happens way more often than people would like to ever believe it would, and this can happen to any of us. But genuinely one of the strongest issues I've ever read of any series. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's definitely not for everyone. And yeah, I got nothing else to say. This is part 2, which is going to be the truck that hit them. My guess is that it's going to be less about them getting hurt and more about facing the repercussions of a family dying. Oh, wait, actually, no. 2 truck drivers die in 5 seconds. Yeah. So, this is going to be them dying then, I guess. But still pretty horrific.
And on that note, thanks for watching, guys. Really good topic to have. I hope everyone I don't even know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below your polls, everything we said at the beginning. Don't forget to support your local comic shop and read some comics. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Lucas, roll a fucking crit. Roll a crit to end the video. We can't end the video until you roll a crit.
No. 12, 8, 20. I actually got it.
Okay, now we can end the video.
Bye.